Have you seen such a prison? Inside, everyone except for the doctor, from the warden, guards, chefs, to the incarcerated prisoners, are all beautiful women. They all wear short-skirt uniforms, imprisoned for various crimes in this women's prison. This place appears like heaven to men, but for them, it's a terrifying hell. Every new prisoner endures the brutal physical examination of the deputy warden, and the slightest disobedience will lead to inhuman punishments. Those who are lucky survive the torture. Most can't endure it, and get covered with a white cloth stuffed into the incinerator in front of the other prisoners. The women have no entertainment other than serving as free labor. They easily turn on each other, occasionally catching cockroaches to race to pass the tedious time. There's a girl named Nika, imprisoned for life for treason because of her boyfriend's revolution. With long straight black hair, she seldom mixes with others. Her aloof pride deters other girls who know nothing of her background from bothering her. Though she's always alone, if the inmates go too far, Nika extends her hand to the new ones. The head inmate, Sister Hay, tried to resist, but then... Oh. She's just a scared kid. Leave her alone, okay? Go again, okay? With Nika stepping in, no one else dares to misbehave. Despite being caged, Nika still exchanges letters with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend writes that the situation is pessimistic. Worried, Nika contemplates escape. The next day, the deputy warden finds the letter hidden in her chest. Still no panic on Nika's face, because the letter's content is in code. Only she and her boyfriend understand. Nevertheless, as a warning to others, the deputy warden takes her away, hangs her in a cage to expose her to the sun. Night, burned skin peeling, she's locked in a dark cell, enduring the rich woman warden's cruel torture, not revealing her boyfriend's details. After a day and night of torment, a dying Nika is thrown back into prison. Only Sister Jin on the lower bunk helps her to bed. In order to avoid suspicion, everyone pretended to be asleep and turned their backs. Nika quietly revealed her plan to escape from prison, claiming that being killed was better than being tortured to death here. But Jin believed it is better to live on than to die a good death. Unless she had a foolproof plan, she would not take the risk lightly. However, an incident made Jin change her mind. This was a women-only prison, and once you're in, don't ever think about getting out. Men became scarce in their eyes. To satisfy the most primitive desires, Jin decided to take the risk. Big Thunder and Little Thunder, two brothers, were the only men allowed in and out of prison freely. From time to time, they would bring supplies, and also bring some food for the prisoners, just requiring a little something in return. Each time they entered, it was like stepping into a spider's web, each woman desperately trying to please them. But Little Thunder did not dare to openly ask for compensation like his brother, only daring to steal glances when pretending to pass by. The spring scenery in the bathhouse. Jin spotted the sleazy face outside, but did not make a scene. Instead, while the kitchen staff was not watching, she took a knife, hid in the supply storage room, waiting to pounce on Little Thunder as soon as he entered and closed the door. Originally starved for a man, she was eager to vent. Holding the knife, she forced Little Thunder to skip the foreplay and get straight to the point. This was nearly the end for Little Thunder before it even began. However, this enchanting scene was caught by the deputy warden. Little Thunder quickly pulled up his pants and made his escape, leaving Jin alone. The deputy warden's smile was one of success, signaling tough times ahead for Jin. After a period of inhuman torture, Jin was covered with a white cloth, carried out on a stretcher to be sent to the crematorium. Just as the doctor was passing by, he lifted the white cloth. It turns out Jin was not dead, just passed out, and with her last breath, she begged the doctor to save her. The deputy warden, to cover up the truth, claimed that Jin had mania, always self-harming, which caused her current state. The doctor naturally did not believe his nonsense, so Jin narrowly escaped death. Because of this incident, Jin decided to take the plunge with Nika. The fence of the ventilation factory was too high and guarded. The chances of the two of them digging their way out are basically zero, but the front door is just a wooden one, which gives them better odds. Having figured out the escape route, they now need to rally the troops. To get other prisoners on their side, the quickest shortcut is to defeat the top dog, Blackie becoming the new top dog, and thus have everyone at her beck and call. The proactive Goldie took action and started to provoke Blackie. Blackie indeed threw down the gauntlet to have a decisive battle with her. That day, while out working, they used the tall wild grass as cover and began to duel. At first, Goldie was no match for the burly Blackie. Retreating first, she accidentally fell into a quagmire. Goldie had a stroke of genius, and under the pretext of embracing nature, invited Blackie to make the quagmire their battleground. In this way, the two of them continued to wrestle in the mud, with continuous screams. Blackie's attack failed. She was pinned by Goldie in the mud, unable to move, and finally had no choice but to concede and beg for mercy. In the evening, Nika announced her Cantonese plan, and many people joined, including Blackie, of course. Collectively brainstorming, they all offered advice and strategies. First, to leave the prison, They had to deal with the guards. Then they needed to capture a hostage powerful enough to deter all the guards, to allow for a safe exit. Lastly, they needed to find a vehicle to break through the gate and escape. But how could they, unarmed, deal with the fully armed prison guards? The prison's deputy warden has a particular hobby, which is to arbitrarily torture the female prisoners who make mistakes. To avoid being discovered, he always dispenses with his entourage in advance. It was this that gave Goldie and Nika planning the escape a way out. They decided to take an indirect approach, deliberately quarreling with each other during meals, in order to provoke a riot among all the prisoners. Soon the deputy warden came to quell the chaos, and the instigators Goldie and her roommates naturally became a thorn in his eye. To understand what they were up to, the suspicious deputy warden naturally called in Blackie for questioning. Following the plan, Blackie revealed the escape news. Hearing that someone dared to be so audacious, the deputy warden immediately performed a thorough body search on everyone. The prepared ones, naturally, without revealing any flaws. But the deputy warden won't stop there. After supporting the entourage, puts everyone in the steam room, ready to start his own torture. At the same time, Black's sister, who is independent, is not idle. While Dale and Xiaolei came to prison to sell things, seduce Big Thunder, promised that as long as he gets the prison guards drunk tonight, he can do whatever he wants with himself. After the two reached a deal, Black's sister found a kitten raised by her roommate, put a piece of wire into a cloth bag, hanging around his neck. Sister Jin, Nika, whether they can get out of trouble depends on him. However, just when he was ready and only needed the east wind, Xiao Shili, a mentally ill roommate, grabbed a sharp object and cut her neck. At the same time, the temperature in the steam room is getting higher and higher. Several girls are thirsty. Severe dehydration. At the critical moment, the cat smelled his master all the way, crawled in through the ventilation duct. They made traps out of wire. Shouting attracted the deputy warden. As he approached the iron gate, he was strangled with wire. The breathless deputy warden had to compromise. Open the iron gate. Nika dodged the gun. Others grabbed his hair and took him away, leaning against a small black room specially for deformity. Just then, a man wearing a black hood came in. Nika and Sister Kim thought that when they were suffering, this person will always sit in a chair and look at them. It is speculated that this person should be a high-ranking warden, chase all the way to knock down each other. After taking off the headgear, sure enough, they verified their conjecture. In a panic, everyone forgot to shut the warden's mouth. An entourage came with a gun. They are not afraid. Work together to subdue it. At the same time, in order to get Black's sister, spare no effort to guard the prison gate. Corresponding to several rounds, the other party really got drunk. Leave my brother to delay time. Big Thunder opened the door of Black's sister's prison. What you can see is the Black sister who has already lost her breath. The brothers were terrified. I could only be glad to leave through the back door, just as they were about to drive away. Stopped by Sister Jin and Nika, who escaped with guns. I'm going to use this door-to-door call. He slammed the door open and fled, only to be spotted by the guard as soon as he started. In desperation, Nika shot him through. The gunshots quickly drew the attention of a large number of guards at the entrance. In the chaos, Nika found the door had been heavily fortified. They had no choice but to use the tied-up warden and the doctor to threaten to open the door. Who knew that the warden wouldn't play by the rules at all? Don't let them get away. Kill them, show them. Out of options, they had to break out forcibly. Sister Jin forced Dayrey to hit the glass. Nika attacked indiscriminately at the door. At this point, the roommate jumped off the car to chase the cat and was shot dead by stray bullets. There's no time to hesitate. They must rush out immediately and fled till dawn. The two girls changed into the clones of the two brothers. In return, the beautiful warden gifted it to them. However, Dayrey was surrounded by prison reinforcements before he could drive off. Nika had been seriously injured in last night's melee. He handed a farewell letter to his boyfriend to a roommate, insisting he must escape safely from here. He and Sister Jin fought against the reinforcements. Unfortunately, the enemy's firepower was too strong. Nika paid the price of his life for freedom in the end, facing the incoming reinforcements. The doctor accused the warden of various crimes. In the melee, the car's fuel tank was hit, spilling gasoline all over. The injured Sister Jin in the grass reached into her pants for a lighter, lit it and threw it over, blowing the still arguing warden to pieces. In the raging fire, the doctor rushed to rescue the heavily injured Sister Jin, and the roommate who luckily escaped will expose the numerous crimes of this prison to the public. This movie was released in 1971, and the actress's dedicated performances added much to the film. Although the plot is not entirely satisfactory, the screen full of long legs is still quite pleasing to the eye. Okay, that's it for today's video. I'm Instant Noodles. See you next time.